When good friends are drinking Miller Lite, they just know when it's time to go home for one more round. Miller Lite, hold true.
I knew about Patrick Cobbs when he was in the NFL. I just knew the name, knew who he was. And he wasn't just no big star player, but I just knew who he was. But I never knew he went to UNT until I came here.
You know, North Texas was my first D1 offer, and really didn't get another one until about a week before signing day.
Patrick Cobbs does it again. Touchdown, North Texas.
Made one visit down here and fell in love with the place. Things were good. I mean, I love Denton. The city's great. The people were great. It's close to home for me, you know, 2.5 hours away. As a freshman, you come in and your first game is against the University of Oklahoma, and you're like, oh boy, here we go.
Here's a guy who came here, didn't have a lot of other offers, little guy from Oklahoma, no one really knew who he was.
As a freshman, it was hard. You start 0-5. We had a tight group of guys that really kind of leaned on each other, and next thing you know, we rattle off 5 wins.
At Idaho, 2001, if North Texas wins it, they're in a bowl game for the first time in 48 years. And they had a lead, touchdown, maybe 10-point lead, but the game broke open on a Patrick Cobbs run. I just remember calling that play and knowing that he is basically carrying North Texas to a bowl game for the first time since the 1950s.
And go to a bowl game, win conference, and then it sparked a fire from then on out.
At his left, breaking it open, space is 30.
In my eyes, he's the best player we've ever had in my time here. And the reason I'll say that is because he would play anywhere you wanted him to play. I mean, Pat would block a punt and score a touchdown.
He was a starter on punt return, but not as a returner, as a blocker. As dynamic a running back as he was.
Would disappear through holes that you didn't think he was going to come back out of. Power. I mean, you know, not that big, but that's a bowling ball coming at you that you really can't stop. I mean, he had speed, he had breakaway, he had moves, but the bottom line was if you really had to go up the middle and burrow your way into a bunch of people and come out the other end, 43 was the guy to do that. And everything you asked him to do, he did very well.
And to me, that was just Patrick Cobbs. He was the best running back in the country by yards, but you could put him on special teams and he was all in. They made something really good seem possible. Winning conference championships at Division I, going to bowl games, national accolades like rushing leader like Patrick got.
He's an example of a guy who got his opportunity, worked, and ended up having a historic career.
The next thing you know, he's playing for the Miami Dolphins and scoring touchdowns.
You know, 6 years in the NFL.
You know, when I think of Patrick Cobbs as a player, you know, I think of a guy who just had a great feel for the game, a guy who worked his butt off, a guy who was just very steady, very reliable. I think that had a lot to do with why he was so, you know, dominant at North Texas and effective in the NFL and able to last as long as he did.
Hall, half roll, right, throws back left. He's got Cobbs open, caught at the 5.
I want you to be a huge part of our program. I want you to be there. I want you to support us, but at the same time, I want to support you.
He's one of actually the first guys that I met the day of my press conference, and we got to sit down and talk a little bit. You know, I wanted to meet some of the former players, alumni, guys that, you know, I wanted to let them know that look, they're a part of this family, and they're always going to be. You know, sitting down talking with him, you can tell how passionate he was. He was very articulate and just a sharp guy. And I felt that if there was ever a time that you know, something could pop open or he could get back to his alma mater and coach the position that he played, he would definitely have the experience, having played a number of years, obviously in the NFL, and then he was already coaching in the community at Denton Ryan High School.
But, you know, the timing has to be right for the school and for him, and it was.
You're a good teammate, though. I like the fact you're a good teammate.
You know, it was a guy that I really respected and enjoyed our conversation. We hit it off pretty well, and
the possibility to coach here was huge. You know, I kind of, you know, I kind of begged to get this job, to be honest with you. Coach Luttrell's a fantastic dude, but I literally told him from the first day, if I'm not the guy for the job, I love this university more than I want this job. So if I'm not the right guy for the job, don't hire me.
Oh, you know what?
I want this team to have as much success as possible. There's only a few times that I got butterflies in my life, and walking in and knowing like the first day I'm a coach here, just kind of gave me chills, and it was something to be excited about.
When I first started talking to him, the first thing I noticed was he was excited. Like, this is his first time coaching college football, and I could just tell he was just amped up and he was ready to work.
I became a man. I met my wife here. Everything happened for me in Denton, and I owe this university everything. This university was good to me. It's hard to not be excited or happy about something like that when it's that big of an impact in your life.
Get a green shirt guy up here.
There's no doubt he's an unbelievable coach, and I think through his experience of playing the position, understanding what those guys are going through.
It makes you listen more because he's been there where you're at. He's been there. You can tell he cares a little bit more because he played at UNT. So this means a lot more to him. So the way he coaches is like from the heart, and he means it. So I just listen.
When I go to tell a story to a kid about North Texas, I'm telling him my story. I can tell him exactly what I experienced as a high school kid, what I experienced as a college kid, what I experienced after college coming from North Texas. Luckily enough, having the ability to play in the league.
Like a lot of our coaches, he's a great coach, but he's a better mentor. He's a great person. He's a great family man, a great husband, great father. Those are the things that are also important to continue to make sure that we help these men grow.
It's a pitch out right to Cobbs, trying to...
I was a nobody when I got on campus. I turned into a somebody on campus, but it didn't matter when I left here because I know, when I got to the NFL, I was a nobody all over again, and I was okay with that. Kids get the perception that you can't play the league at certain schools. Well, that's false. If you play well enough, you'll get the opportunity to play at the next level, and it's what you make of it when you get there from that point on. North Texas taught me a lot of things that helped me when I got to the league.
I mean, this is a program that's trying to get back to the point where North Texas is pumping out NFL talent on a regular basis, and he's obviously an example of a guy who was able to go from North Texas into the NFL.
It was excited to play for Cobbs because we just knew his background, and that just helped it more. Like we just vibe. I think he's loving it, and we love him here too.
And then that spills over into recruiting, and you look right now at the running backs that he inherited. We're probably as deep quality depth at running back as we've ever been. Having him back in the role he's in with those really 5 to 6 running backs, what a difference he can make in their lives, in the locker room, not just on game day.
Can't think of a better coach to tell these kids, you may not go to the NFL, but it's possible. If you work hard, you can make it. I did, you can make it.
He was here at a point in time where I consider a real renaissance time for North Texas under Daryl Dickey. We started winning when we had to, and now to have him back now during this second, even bigger, more impressive renaissance, and to be an active part of it, that's perfect.
Let's go! Let's go!
When good friends are drinking Miller Lite, they just know when it's time to go home for one more round. Miller Lite, hold true.